The £26 million steal. Why Richard Rios could be Man United's best summer signing. In a transfer market where good players cost a fortune and great players cost even more, finding quality at a reasonable price feels like discovering buried treasure. That's exactly what Manchester United might have stumbled upon with Richard Rios, the Palmeiras midfielder who has been turning heads at the Club World Cup. While everyone's talking about big money moves for strikers and attacking midfielders, United could be about to pull off one of the smartest signings of the summer. At just £26 million, Rios represents the kind of value that smart clubs build their success on. But who is this Colombian star? And why should United fans be excited about a player many of them have never heard of? The Club World Cup performance that changed everything. Sometimes a player's career can change in the space of a few games. For Richard Rios, that moment came at the 2025 Club World Cup, where his performances for Palmeiras caught the attention of clubs across Europe. Standing out on the big stage, the 25-year-old was in outstanding form throughout the tournament, helping his Brazilian side reach the quarterfinals before their journey ended in a 2-1 defeat to Chelsea. But it wasn't just about getting to the quarterfinals, it was how Rios performed when the spotlight was brightest. With 2 assists in the tournament, Rios showed he could create chances when it mattered most. But statistics don't tell the full story. Anyone who watched Palmeiras during the Club World Cup could see that Rios was the engine that made their team tick. The moment that caught United's eye. When you're scouting players, you're not just looking for good performances. You're looking for those moments that show a player has what it takes to succeed at the highest level. Rios provided plenty of those moments during the Club World Cup, and that's why Manchester United scouts were taking notes. The £26 million price tag. A bargain in today's market. In a world where average players cost £40 to £50 million, Rios's £26 million release clause looks like a steal. But why is Palmeiras willing to let such a talented player go for what seems like a bargain price? Understanding the release clause. The key detail here is that Palmeiras won't negotiate on the price. They want the full €30 million, £26 million, release clause paid, or Rios stays put. This isn't about getting the best possible deal. It's about protecting their asset while giving the player a chance to move if the right opportunity comes along. Comparing the market. When you look at what other midfielders have cost in recent transfer windows, £26 million for a player of Rios's quality seems almost too good to be true. Premier League clubs regularly pay double that amount for players with less experience and proven ability. The South American factor. Part of the reason for the relatively low price tag is that Rios is coming from South American football. European clubs often get better value when they sign players from Brazil, Argentina, or Colombia because the market dynamics are different. Who is Richard Rios? For many United fans, Rios might be an unknown quantity. But his record at Palmeiras suggests he's exactly the kind of player United need in their midfield. The numbers that matter. With 11 goals and 10 assists in 137 appearances for Palmeiras, Rios has shown he can contribute at both ends of the pitch. Those numbers might not jump off the page, but they tell the story of a consistent performer who makes his team better. More than just statistics. Football isn't just about goals and assists, especially for central midfielders. Rios brings the kind of work rate, pressing, and tactical intelligence that modern football demands. He's the type of player who might not always grab the headlines but makes everyone around him better. The Colombian connection. Playing for Colombia at international level adds another layer to Rios's appeal. The fact that he's trusted by his national team shows that coaches who know South American football rate him highly. Why United need a player like Rios. With Christian Eriksen leaving on a free transfer, United have a gap in their midfield that needs filling. But rather than just replacing one player with another, this could be an opportunity to upgrade the squad. The Eriksen replacement. Eriksen's departure creates both a problem and an opportunity for United. The Danish midfielder brought experience and creativity to the team, but his age and fitness concerns were always a limitation. Rios could provide similar qualities but with the energy and athleticism of a player in his prime. Fitting into Amorim's system. Ruben Amorim's tactical approach requires midfielders who can do multiple jobs. They need to be comfortable on the ball, willing to press without it, and capable of contributing in both boxes. Rios's Club World Cup performances suggest he has all these qualities. The perfect age. At 25, Rios is entering the best years of his career. He's old enough to have gained experience but young enough to improve and adapt to European football. This is the perfect age for a player making the jump from South American to European football. The competition for Rios's signature. United aren't the only club interested in Rios. The competition for his signature shows just how highly rated he is by clubs across Europe. Nottingham Forest making moves. According to reports, Nottingham Forest are the only Premier League club to have made actual contact with Rios's representatives. This shows they're serious about the signing and aren't just window shopping. Inter Milan's interest. The fact that Inter Milan are watching Rios adds credibility to his reputation. The Italian giants don't scout players unless they believe they can contribute at the highest level. Tottenham and PSG in the mix. With Tottenham and PSG also interested, United will need to move quickly if they want to secure Rios's signature. The more clubs that get involved, the more complicated the transfer becomes. What the experts are saying. Journalist Ben Jacobs has been following the Rios story closely, and his insights give us a good picture of where things stand. The scouting confirmation. Jacobs confirmed that United have been scouting Rios, saying, "What I can tell you is Man United have scouted the player, but scouting doesn't mean a great deal." This honest assessment shows that while United are interested, they haven't made their final decision yet. The scouting stage is just the beginning of any potential transfer. The timing factor. Perhaps most importantly, Jacobs revealed that the player's representatives don't want to discuss transfers right now. The player side has said if he moves, he doesn't want to have these conversations now anyway, he explained. This could actually work in United's favor. If Rios isn't in a rush to make a decision, it gives United time to properly evaluate their options and make a considered approach. The mid-July timeline. According to Jacobs, any serious transfer talks are likely to happen in mid-July or early August. This timeline suits United perfectly, as it gives them time to sort out their other transfer priorities before focusing on the midfield. Why this could be United's smartest signing. In a summer where United are being linked with expensive strikers and attacking midfielders, the Rios deal represents a different kind of smart business. Value for money. At £26 million, Rios would be one of the cheaper signings United have made in recent years. But cheap doesn't mean inferior, it could mean getting a player before his value explodes. Low risk, high reward. The relatively low price tag means this isn't a make-or-break signing for United. If Rios takes time to adapt to European football, the financial risk is manageable. But if he hits the ground running, United could have a bargain on their hands. Building for the future. Signing Rios wouldn't just be about next season, it would be about building a squad that can compete for years to come. At 25, he could be a key player for United for the next 5 or 6 years. The South American success stories. Premier League history is full of South American players who took time to adapt before becoming stars. Rios could follow a similar path. Learning from the past. Players like Fabinho, Casemiro, and Fernandinho all made the jump from South American football to become Premier League successes. The key is giving them time to adapt and surrounding them with the right support. The cultural adjustment. Moving from Brazil to England isn't just about football. It's about adapting to a new culture, language, and way of life. United's experience with South American players should help them support Rios through this transition. How Rios would fit at Old Trafford. The big question for United fans is how Rios would fit into the team and whether he can make the step up to Premier League football. The midfield partnership. Rios could form an excellent partnership with players like Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes. His work rate and pressing would complement their technical abilities perfectly. The defensive contribution. One area where United have struggled is protecting their defense from midfield. Rios's ability to break up play and win the ball back could be crucial in making the team more solid. The attacking threat. With 11 goals in 137 appearances, Rios has shown he can contribute in the final third. Those goals might not come as regularly in the Premier League, but his ability to get into scoring positions would add another dimension to United's attack. The transfer timeline. Understanding when this transfer might happen is crucial for United fans who want to follow the story. The player's preference. The most important factor is that Rios doesn't want to discuss transfers while he's focused on football. This professional attitude is actually a good sign. It shows he's the kind of player who prioritizes performance over personal gain. The mid-July window. With serious talks not expected until mid-July, United have time to plan their approach. This could work in their favor, as they won't be rushing into a decision. The competition factor. The longer United wait, the more time other clubs have to prepare their own offers. Finding the right balance between patience and urgency will be key. What this means for United's summer plans. The Rio situation gives us some insight into how United are approaching the transfer market this summer. The value-first approach. Rather than just spending big money on established stars, United seem to be looking for players who represent good value. Rios fits this approach perfectly. The long-term vision. Signing a 25-year-old midfielder suggests United are thinking beyond just next season. They're building a squad that can compete for years to come. The tactical fit. The fact that United are interested in Rios tells us something about how Amorim wants to play. He clearly values players who can contribute at both ends of the pitch. The Palmeiras perspective. Understanding why Palmeiras are willing to sell Rios helps explain the transfer dynamics. The release clause reality. By setting a specific release clause, Palmeiras have essentially put a price on Rios's head. They're not desperate to sell, but they won't stand in his way if the right offer comes in. The financial benefits. For a Brazilian club, 30 million euros represents significant money that can be reinvested in the squad. Palmeiras might see this as an opportunity to strengthen multiple positions. The player's development. From Palmeiras' perspective, Rios has probably taken his game as far as he can in Brazilian football. A move to Europe would be the next logical step in his development. The fan perspective. How should United fans feel about a potential Rios signing? The answer depends on what they're looking for from the transfer window. The excitement factor. Rios might not be the big-name signing that gets fans excited, but he could be the type of player who makes the biggest difference on the pitch. The patience required. If United do sign Rios, fans will need to be patient. South American players often take time to adapt to European football, and expecting immediate impact might lead to disappointment. The long-term view. This signing would be about building for the future rather than making an immediate splash. Fans who understand this will be more likely to appreciate what Rios brings to the team. The verdict. A smart move waiting to happen. When you look at all the factors involved in the Rios situation, it's hard not to conclude that this would be a smart signing for United. The price is right, the player is at the perfect age, and his performances at the Club World Cup show he can handle big occasions. With Christian Eriksen's departure creating a gap in the squad, Rios could be the perfect replacement. The competition from other clubs shows that United aren't the only ones who see his potential. But with the player not wanting to rush into any decisions, United have time to make their case. At £26 million, this wouldn't be a signing that makes headlines around the world. But it could be the kind of smart business that successful clubs are built on. Sometimes the best transfers are the ones that make perfect sense rather than the ones that generate the most excitement. Whether United will make their move remains to be seen. But if they're serious about building a squad that can compete at the highest level, Richard Rios represents exactly the kind of opportunity they should be jumping on. The summer transfer window is full of expensive gambles and high-profile signings. But sometimes the smartest move is the one that flies under the radar. For United, Richard Rios could be exactly that kind of signing, the one that makes all the difference.